we ordered a couple of pods of fish from Tom, and I just got the saw, cleaned it up, put it in the drums, and just left it a couple of weeks. I stirred it a few times, and the first thing I noticed was as soon as they started spraying it out, the smell had changed. So the fungi had actually had a digestive process inside the fish straight away. And then I just didn't even, just...
The smell changed for the better.
Oh, hell yeah. It just totally decimated the absolute pong that comes from rotten fish. So that was good. So I didn't get the complaints from the neighbours or anybody else in town noticing that I'd actually been spraying fish on the farm. And, we'd been sprayed fish before, and it was about trying to encourage the microbes. But at this stage, I'd done a course or a day course with Elaine Ingham looking at compost teas and introducing microbes and all this. And I don't know, it just didn't seem to function well with me, because it's like, well, you make a compost heap and then you take that and going, well, what was in the compost heap to start with? I mean, were the right species that I need? And they were saying, oh, well, you need to go to the bush and take fungal species from the bush, and going, that doesn't sort of really ring that well, because I'm not trying to grow carbohydrate trees. I'm trying to grow protein pastures. So there's different fungal species for different things. This is why the myriads of species there are,
Right.
So we fired it on. Wow, the ragwort. I mean, I had a lot of nodding thistles when we first went there, but man, this thing challenged it for weed infestation over bloody hell. It was phenomenal. Van Gogh would have been lost. Where's Vincent gone? Oh, he's just doing small flowers. It was horrendous. And I remember buying a mulcher from down at Whakamarama and bringing it home. And what we found with that mulcher while we were doing it, we found old snig chains, wire ropes, all sorts of things.
Really?
You'd be going across this paddock and boop, and the next thing the whole tractor and everything would stop. You get out the back, didn't know I'd left a snig chain there, or oops, there's what that rope belonged to.
Yeah.
So, we found a few artefacts around and trying to keep it clean. But and I was reasonably happy with the result in the sense of where I mulched it. It knocked them back, and I didn't damage the soil. And, it took 2 or 3 years for it to really get back to gone and let the fungi do its job. And in the meantime, I was full on trying to learn more and more about what the hell is going on with these little guys.
So what did you understand about the fungi's job in the relationship with how it worked with plants?
I didn't understand enough at that stage. And what had happened on the farm, which was pretty eye-opening to me, and there's some stuff in the other chapters about it, like I had plants that looked like they'd been sprayed with a hormone spray, and they looked really contorted. And again, so I went away and did chemical residue tests, and came back and said there was nothing. But
it looked like it had been sprayed with hormone.
Yeah, and so as I kept on learning this, I'm thinking, and I started reading Stamets stuff, which was quite interesting, and he was
really
talking about really interesting guy, and he was talking about how the fungi can break radioactivity down, and shit, I only saw an article the other day on Chernobyl.
I saw that too.
On black fungi, that are right in the middle of the whole nuclear reactor, just completely eating the whole thing up.
Yeah,
and so this shows that nature is just a brilliance in itself. It knows more about how this whole process works than we do.
If I'm not mistaken, Neil deGrasse Tyson posted a bit of that information on Facebook.
Oh, wouldn't surprise me,
Yeah. It's just such a fascinating area that's looking after radiation. And Stamets, boy, is he world famous.
Oh, totally. And he's just out there on his own little pedestal, growing up on the mushrooms, then hiding underneath them, and then
occasionally appearing on the Joe Rogan show to talk about it.
Yeah. He's a cool guy, and he's had a lot of the experiences himself, and things that he really struggled with himself, and actually health problems and all that. So, a man of experience, which was so cool to read his books and understand the level of knowledge that he gained over time in a practical situation.
Yeah.
So, as this went on, the ragwort one just turned into a next one, which was this paddock that was just covered in cow shit, these blobs, with 14 or 15 gold top mushrooms on top of them. I didn't know at the time what they were. I mean, later I found out it was like, I could have kept Auckland's Class A drug business going just out of one paddock.
Wow.
And what was the interesting thing about it was when the cows came back around, they ate them all.
And they didn't feel or look affected by it?
No, they didn't seem to go doolally or anything, but they were really happy to eat them.
Right.
And I don't know why it was that one paddock. It just exploded in them. It didn't happen after. There was some in the next paddock, and there was one or two shits in the paddock beforehand, but that paddock was just kaboom.
Wow.
And I was like, what the heck? Anyway, so the more I read about it, and sort of looking at it, this is really interesting. I said, I better have a look at the dung, and I was pulling up the dung, and I could see all the mycelium right all through the dung. I thought, I'll dig this up, and I'll take it round the farm, and I'll just throw it round the farm. And the magic part had another interesting episode on me. I mean, I obviously had the fungal mycelium all over myself, and I was trying to. And the next day, my kidneys were on stalks. They were just, what's going on? And I pissed black. And,
come on.
And it was really, and then it went away.
This was not in the book.
No. I didn't want to scare people too much, but these are really interesting experiences. Like I'd thrown this around the farm, and I pissed black the following day.
Now, what's the outcome there?
I think it was a really good kidney detox.
Fascinating.
So it was magic, in many different aspects of it.
Yeah.
And so what we went on to find out is that we kept introducing these different species, and then we'd see a different result. And I was a bit reticent about putting these different species into one mix. But what I found out is that, of the millions of different things, they don't seem to intersect. They do their own thing. It's like going to the disco and watching someone do this and goes, we don't dance like that. We go like this. And they go, well, that's okay. So we'll do this and we'll do that, and this guy will do this, and then we get John Travolta.
He's doing a different thing.
He's doing a different thing. And
yeah,
it's
right.
like, and so these fun guys were just doing their own shit.
Wow.
And what became more and more prevalent as I understand this whole thing is that there's nothing different between the soil, the animal, all of us thing. Because what was going on is it'd go into the animal room, and as soon as it shit on the ground. Well, it was a compost heap. It hadn't killed the fungal species inside the gut. And we really, really see this in a home kill when you actually process an animal and you take the paunch, what's in the paunch. It isn't fully digested. So we take that and we put it on the compost heap. Well, the first thing that happens is one of the species of psilocybe take off. Just covered. It'll be covered in fungi. I saw it just 2 days ago. And I've seen this several times, and it just shows you that it's sitting there doing a job inside the gut. When it goes onto the ground, it's there to do another job. And that was really, really prevalent. I talked about in the book, it's like where we started putting it in the water trough, and from the time I got back, one day before, which was a good 8-week round, no, it was longer than that, 10 weeks at that time, there were still these plods of dung where they'd been. The very next day where I poured this in the water trough, there was not a dung to be found in the paddock at all. And so these guys had just gone, yoo-hoo, food! And they just gobbled it up. And what was noticeable was the worm activity had come up to eat them, and so this whole life cycle had started all over again.
Keen to dive deeper? Check out our audiobook and EcoFarmer's Discovery on Spotify, or grab our free ebook, The 6 Things You Need to Improve Soil and Farm Profit. Links in the description.